This Jack Link's 500 DFS Picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up at UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN to get up to $1,000 in bonus.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. You may have noticed the room has changed. Where your couch used to be is not where your couch used to be. It is we're trying out a new form of streaming, so bear with us. For those of you who are just joining us on YouTube and are waiting for us to show up on the X or on anywhere else, apologies. We're trying out a brand new streaming service, and you're in for the maiden voyage, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. And for those of you listening on the original podcast feed, you have no clue what I'm talking about. And good for you.
Yeah, sometimes you're just like, whatever changes there might be or might not be. It sounds the same on the podcast. But yes, welcome into our new home.
Our new home. I'm sorry, Cody, that I changed the blinds. I changed the positioning of the couches. Like, I tell you, so here's the thing, right? And as I was getting all of this set up, like I wanted to make it feel as much like I could as the original, but it's just so hard sometimes when you're just learning the ropes, and it's like a whole different situation going on. So for those of you joining us with this, bear with us as we kind of get used to everything.
Yeah, absolutely. But picks are going to stay the same. Everything else staying the same. Just changing the place that hosts our streams. That's it. Still SGPN and all the good fun stuff. So no other changes. Don't worry about that. I'm excited to talk some DFS, some underdog picks today. Talladega style. Things get wild. Things get crazy. Let's go.
Well, and we talked a lot, especially yesterday on the Xfinity Series. I mean, we talked up and down the card. I mean, we were talking about guys that we haven't talked about in, pretty much ever. So that's the fun of Talladega. That's the fun of super speedway racing, is that you can pretty much just pick anybody and make a case for them. We used to back in the day, and I wouldn't even do it right now if I wanted to, have the wheel as we would spin the wheel to see who we would talk about on DFS episodes. And I mean, granted, that's gone out of the wayside, but yeah, definitely fun days to be had.
Yeah, I mean, really, the wheel would still work if you do have that. I still have my daughter draw the random lineups out of the hat. She always loves doing that. And I mean, it can be that crazy, right? Last year we had a 28-car wreck in this very race. So things get wild, things get crazy, and that's just how it goes.
It sure as heck does. All right, yes, it is. So normally, of course, we talk about the Cup Series, DFS, and Underdog because we've pared it all down to one episode. So we just give you the Cup Series. So we're here for the Jack Link's 500 DFS episode. And like you said, it is from Talladega. Having a lot of fun doing it. Although, Cody, tonight is the draft night, which means The SGPN NFL Draft Show live watch party for the entire round one of the NFL Draft, featuring all of your favorite hosts, including, wait, Cody, you're going to be on it.
Yes, I will be on there. Nice and early, too. The Patriots blessed me with the 4th pick in the draft this year. So
indeed, and I will also be on it. You can tune in tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/sports gambling podcast. That's youtube.com/sports gambling podcast. Yep, I am definitely going to be on there representing my 49ers. Hopefully they get a good draft pick. I'll tell you what, Cody, I almost don't care who they pick in the first round, because the Niners have not really had all that great success so far in the first round in a few years. Therefore, I'm hoping that I just want to cover who they pick last. That's who I want to see, right?
Yeah, that's worked out for them fairly well lately. So, I'm super excited. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We still don't really have a full idea of what's gonna happen. I mean, last year it was just kind of, okay, let's get the draft started. We already know the first 8 picks. These are exactly who everybody's gonna pick. And tonight, you don't really know. Cam Ward, I guess it looks like he's gonna go first now. I'm still holding some long shot tickets that it will be Carter, but Ward's gonna go, and it's probably Hunter, even though I think Carter should go second, and then it's probably Carter, and then the Patriots are kind of the first. They could just go offensive tackle with Campbell and be boring, or do they shock with the T-Mac pick or Gene T, or do the Bears trade up? That's where things are going to get wild and crazy, and then Jaguars and so on and so forth. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, you could watch the regular old TV coverage, which is kind of shit over and over, or you can join the SGPN stream and have a lot of fun with us. So that's what.
Where does Tim Tebow go in this draft? That's what I want to know. Brian checking in saying, I'm only here to once again pound the table for Austin Cindric at a drafting track. Still remember people clowning me a couple of years ago about it.
Was that us?
I hope it wasn't.
I hope not, but it could have been. It might have been. I'm not sure.
No.
Really
I think we've kept our Austin Cindric
slander
to a minimum.
Yeah. I don't think we've ever really hated on Cindric too much. And we saw what he could do in Xfinity, I believe, too. So, but yeah, he's a fucking superstar on super speedways now. So definitely a guy to keep an eye out for.
When you win one in your rookie season, I think you're pretty good company for doing it.
Win one, yeah, and it's the Daytona 500.
So yeah, definitely all about that. All right, so it is the Jack Links 500 on this particular track. We are in for a lot of fun, actually. Like we said, it's a lot of drafting, a lot of bumping, a lot of beating, a lot of banging. We are in for 188 laps around this 2.660 mile paved track for 500.08 miles of 2 wide, 3 wide, 5 wide. How wide can they make it, Cody? Let's.
We're gonna get a little of all Brian clearing up too. It wasn't there, so good. We're off the hook there. Glad to hear that, Brian. But yeah, turns out you were right, because Cindric, who we might be talking about a little bit today, definitely a good guy. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be crazy race. You're gonna get points of this race where it's gonna be all about fuel conservation. They're gonna line up. It's gonna be follow the leader. They're not gonna want to lead. That always kind of makes things interesting. But again, 28 car pileup last year. I believe it was the spring race here too, where we had guys going for the win and wrecking, and then Tyler Reddick kind of slipped through and ends up getting the win, even though he was 3rd, 4th on the last lap there, similar to what we saw in the 500 this year. So yeah, things are going to be crazy DFS wise. And again, just to reiterate, if this is your first time or if you've played before, leave salary on the table. It is perfectly fine to leave $5,000, $10,000. Most weeks you want to try and spend a majority of your salary because you're trying to maximize what you're getting, but it's so open this week that you can leave a lot of salary out there, and that's nothing.
Yeah, and again, you should not be afraid to put anybody and everybody in there and mix it up. Put a couple in there, and this is not one where you want a single bullet either. I mean, I know in some of these contests like we have, you only get one entry, and that's fine. Build the best one you can, but that's just for fun a lot of times, because I definitely don't win more often than not. But yeah, if you're in it,
these are the fun ones too. Yeah, these are and that's the thing. We talk about that in betting, right? If you are a big DFS player and on a week-to-week basis, this is your like, yeah, cut it back, dial it back this week. But for me, I definitely enter more different lineups in super speedway racing than anything, because there's more random chances of things happening and different ways to build things. There's only really so many ways you can build a lineup at Bristol that's going to have a decent shot of doing something, right? But at Talladega, there's almost endless possibilities. Stack the back, stack the front, manufacturers, teammates, throw darts, draw from hats, and you don't know which ones are going to get lucky and miss the wreck, which ones are not going to. Well, sometimes you do when it comes to Kyle Larson, but even he finishes races here good at times, right, Rod? So,
it does make it a lot of fun. All right, well then we will start to get to our favorite bet, or our favorite DFS picks for this race. I'm telling you, it's disorienting when you're used to one thing for 611 episodes, and all of a sudden or 610 episodes, and on 611 you switch things. It's disorienting. So as I find my way around my new house,
looks slightly different on this side of things, but we'll survive.
We sure.
I am glad we did this on the DFS show, because it's, they're all very serious, and we take DFS seriously, obviously, but this is more of a laid back, in the pick shows, we got a lot of shit to talk about. We're really kind of setting the table. We've already set all the table and everything's ready. Now we're just kind of giving you the finishing touches and highlighting guys, but
sprinkling the salt, as it were, right on the. I'll never do that again because my daughter's with the twins. But all right.
It's already going to be a screenshot later. Don't worry.
All right, fine.
We have our own meme.
I don't have it loaded up, but I'll get it there later on. All right, let's tell you about Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums. Earn cashback rewards and get 100% approval for all of your betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Deposit $25 and Edge Boost is going to match that deposit. That's edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Allow me to tell you about my friends over at mybookie.ag. So much good stuff over there at mybookie.ag, up to and including basketball that's happening right now as well. MyBookie, it's your place to bet on every single sport, including NBA playoffs and the NFL draft, plus props for every single game. And for the true DJs, the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations. Easy deposit, lightning fast payout, as always, using cryptocurrency. And oh, by the way, go ahead and use your Edge Boost card for that as well. Looking over now at some of the odds that we've got over on mybookie.ag. Call of Duty League going on right now. Hey man, LA Thieves, you want some fun from some fun stat? Minus 2,500 to win the game against the Carolina Royal Ravens. Just a fantastic line to scoop up. I'm just kidding. No one would ever tell you to lay that. But the LA Thieves, definitely a fun there. Vancouver Surge, plus 190 over Atlanta FaZe. Go take that one. I love me some Vancouver Surge. I think they're in for the upset over the Atlanta FaZe. So all that fun stuff going on right now over at mybookie.ag. Make sure you head over there right now to use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. That's mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Well, Cody, as we always do on our DFS shows, we love to give you the high-price drivers that we like, the mid-tier drivers that we like, and the low-price drivers that we like. And today we're going to do more of the same for you to help you build your DFS lineups.
Yes, absolutely. I am going to start up near the top of the board here, $10,000 for William Byron. Talked about him a lot in the betting episode, but I love William Byron this week. He has really become one of the better super speedway racers in the series just in general, and he's really freaking good here at Talladega as well. If you go back and you look, came here in the fall, a third place finish for him, started 16th. That is a nice solid day. Led just one lap, but hey, he was running first in stage 1, fifth in stage 2, so he was up around the front, hanging out, probably cranking in some fast laps there for sure than last spring with a second or seventh place finish here. Again, third in stage 1, hanging around up front with an opportunity there. October of 23, second place finish, leads 12 laps, second in both stages, so right there in the mix all day long. April of 23, 7th place finish, 12th place, 15th place. You got to go back to 2021 for him to have a bad finish at 36, but spring of 21, 2nd place, fall of 24th place. All 10 races ago in the June of 2022 or 2020 rather, an 11th place finish. If you go 10 races back, one finish worse than 15th place when you're trying to find a guy in DFS that's going to be like the thing with Super Speedway, DraftKings, and in fantasy, you want to find somebody who's going to be there at the end, right? Because that's what you need. You don't want that flipped upside down red car where half my lineups are all just flipped upside down red cars. Byron doesn't give you that very often. He gets to the end of these races. He's really good. Oh, by the way, just won the Daytona 500 for the 2nd year in a row. Again, right place at the right time at the end, but that's what he does. He just keeps himself in the game with a chance at a good finish, and getting to the end of these races in fantasy here is going to be the most important thing. So give me William Byron, $10,000 near the top of the board. He's a driver that I'm really, really in on this weekend.
Yeah, you cannot underestimate or under deliver. You cannot overvalue. It's like Friday, but it's Thursday, but it's Friday. You can't overvalue getting to the end of these races. And when you got a guy that doesn't wreck out of races, that is what you're really, really looking for. And so I'm 100% with you on that, which is why I bring up Brad Keselowski. I know that I'm usually down on RFK. I know I'm usually down on these guys, but Brad Keselowski, $9,600, more than we'd probably want to pay for him just about any other week out there. However, Talladega Superspeedway is a much different animal for one Brad, formerly Brad Keselowski, because in 3 out of the last 4 races that he's participated on this track, they've been top 5 finishes. I mean, when you think about it, and this has been through some very, very up and down Brad Keselowski years, right? I mean, this is when he's been good and then not good and then good and then not good. And it doesn't matter though, because on Talladega, he seems to be able to find his way up into the top 5. The only time that he didn't was in the fall of 2023, where he finished 32nd when he crashed out. However, he did start 5th in that one, which is funny because here's the thing. So in the spring of 2023, he starts in 20th place. He finishes in 5th. Okay. In the spring of 2024, he starts 22nd. He finishes 2nd. In the fall of 2024, he starts 13th, finished 2nd. The only time he's at a good high fit or starting place, he doesn't finish well. So hopefully he qualifies somewhere in the 20s. That way you know that he will keep himself clean all day long and get up and get you some, because that's a pretty major place differential from 22nd to 20th. That's 20 places of place differential there. And 20th to 5th, same difference. But also, he's led laps in each of the last 4 races on this track. Now, granted, it's only been 2, 5, 2, and 2. However, there's still some laps to be led for Brad Keselowski, and he had the 5th most fantasy points here in 2024 in the fall, and the 4th most in the spring of that particular race. So, I mean, yeah, he's priced up there with the big guys, but at Talladega, he is one of the big guys. So I do like Brad Keselowski. Like I said, $9,600. I'm not spending that on him any other place, but right here at Talladega. So give me Brad Keselowski. $9,600 is my high price driver.
Hard to think of a better place. He's obviously on an elite list of winners here. He's been really good at this track over the years. Got his first career win, here at Talladega. So definitely a place he's been good at. You know how much I love Brad K. We talked about that mess at the end of last year's spring race. I think Keselowski was running second in that wreck that obviously he was not able to win, and Reddick got through there. But in position at the end, that's what you like to see.
It is indeed. Little Joker saying, just spent $49.87 on 20 different drivers with a chance to win 100 each. Talk about 52% chance to double your money, right? That's for sure.
Hey, there you go. That's just toss that shotgun unit out there and have some fun. FanDuel does still have LaJoy listed up. A lot of places have LaJoy listed up. If you've accidentally bet on LaJoy, I would not blame you for that, because I would have done it if I knew he was racing. Just see if you can get that refunded, since he's not entered, but he is not entered into the race. So to keep LaJoy off the bets. Luckily, not available in DFS because they actually go off the entry list.
That's so sad. It's not what you want. And if you clicked on the thumbnail from the other day because you saw LaJoy and you were like, aha, I made that thumbnail before I realized what was going on.
Well, yep. I had the LaJoy car lift already loaded into the dock. I was excited because I had seen something a week or two ago that didn't have him. Like it was like next time you see Corey LaJoy is not till, and I'm like, Talladega's next week. Like they got to be joking, right? And then he was listed on the books. And I'm like, fuck yeah, he's racing. And then the entry list came out. And I'm like, fuck no, he's not racing. So, oh well, shit happens.
All right, Cody. Well, then, to fit these high price drivers in, well, maybe not this week, but most weeks, we need to take a step down in price. So, who is your mid-tier driver for this race?
Yeah, well, our guy Brian Twining here to pound the table for Austin Cindric. I'll pound it right along with you. I like Austin Cindric this week at 8,600. This is more of a high variance play because if you look at the results, they're mixed here at Talladega. Not great. 32nd here in the fall, 23rd last spring, a 5th, but then 26th, a 9th, a 21st, kind of all over the place. But Austin Cindric is going to be running up front throughout this race. He's going to look like one of the best cars. He is not afraid to go out there and lead and burn some fuel. You're going to get that from him. He's likely going to start good, which then also increases how low that floor goes, right? It can really bottom out on you. So I think he's going to be a very high-risk play, but with high reward if he does hit. You look at the fall race here, starts in second place, leads 29 laps, so he's racking up, rather. He's lapping up some of these points, Rod, but racking up the laps led, 9th in stage 1, 1st in stage 2, ran great throughout the race, was really in it until the very end, got caught up in, I believe, that big 28 car wreck near the end of the day. But you go back to the spring race here last year, starts in second place, leads 16 laps, 1st and 2nd in the stages. This is not a place where you, in a general sense, chasing laps led, chasing fastest laps, because they're going to be all over the place. I think the laps led prop was 30 some or 40 laps. Like it's not 40, much. But a guy like this has the potential to get you those. And if he does get you the laps led, get you the fastest laps, and he gets that good finish, that's the catch, right? And he gets the good finish because 32nd, 23rd, 26 aren't great, but there is the 5th, the 9th places in there. Obviously, he's won the Daytona 500 before, and he's got that high upside. So definitely a higher variance play in Austin Cindric because I do think that the floor is extremely low because he's probably going to start well. And like anyone else, he can get caught up in these wrecks. And he's not been like a guy like Byron, you're never guaranteed to not wreck, right? He's done it before as well, but majority of the time he doesn't. He's a lot safer of a play, it seems like. Cindric, higher variance, but to Brian's point, he's been really, really good on this type of racing. You think of Talladega, Ford's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. Penske's kind of the first thing that comes to mind. And Cindric's been great at these super speedways. So I'm going to play some Austin Cindric this week at 8,600.
It's not, again, it's not far-fetched to think that because he does have a super speed. And there's some people that you just know that they enjoy drafting. And it's weird, I guess, because there's a lot of drivers that complain about drafting and how difficult it is. But there are some drivers that pretty much thrive in having those conditions where they're that close to other cars, they're having to manage. And maybe it's because
that's me on iRacing, Rod. I suck everywhere but the super speedways.
Hey, listen, if
I can draft like a motherfucker. I win them races all the time. Everywhere else, I am just straight trash.
Well, you know what it is because I'm pretty good at following in other people's footsteps and then being able to step out at the last minute and trip them and oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding. I do. I love drafting tracks too because there's a rhythm to it. When you're behind another car and you're just kind of coasting along and waiting for your chance to jump out of the stream and pass them. So yeah, I guess there's people that thrive on that. And Eric Jones, Cody, is one of those guys, especially at Talladega. $6,400 for young Eric Jones. Okay, maybe not quite so young, but look, Eric Jones.
He's pretty young.
Yeah, he is kind of young. When I talk about how Brad Keselowski does on this track, boy, let me tell you how Eric Jones does on this track. Half of the time, he's been a top 10 car in his 16 starts. So 8 out of 16, top 10, 3 top 5s. His average finish, though, 18.5, which doesn't feel good, but a lot of that came when he was in the 77 and in the 20. Since he's been in the 43, right? We'll go back to the fall of 2021. 9th place, 6th place, 6th place, 6th place, 26th, 35th. That was a bad 2023 and beginning of 2024, but he rallied back at the end of 2024 to get himself another 5th place finish. Well, what does that all mean, you say? Well, in the fall of 2024, Erik Jones put up the second most fantasy points in the race, 67.6 to Ricky Stenhouse's 81.2. We talked about that down Talladega spring race. That happens to everybody pretty much. But in the 2023 spring race, the third most fantasy points with 59.45. In the 2022 fall race, the 7th most fantasy points. In the 2022 spring race, the 6th most. Top 10 driver in terms of fantasy points in 3 of those 4 years. And he's at $6,400. I mean, you're telling me I went to the low end of the mid-tier drivers for this one because you can't, I have another very low price driver for this one, but you cannot pass the value. I mean, if you're going to get close to 8 times your return on this one, just from one driver like that, that's a cheat code, Cody. That is an absolute cheat code at $6,400. So, and I think because people look at it and go, well, Erik Jones has sucked this year. Erik Jones sucked a lot in the years that he finished in 6th place, right? So like this is the one track where he finally gets a chance to have a good run again, and he's going to take full advantage of that. So, and it's not like he's a terrible driver. He's a fantastic driver. Just hasn't been able to really put the finishes together that he wants out of that 43 car. So yeah, man, Erik Jones, $6,400, my mid-tier driver.
Yeah, I love this. We've seen Legacy's been really good on the super speedways this year. Jimmy had the top 5 at the 500. Nemechek was right there with him. And when it comes to Talladega, Erik Jones is really good. He's not great at Daytona, not great at Atlanta. It's not an all-encompassing all super speedways, but Talladega, he has it figured out. I talked about him on the betting episode earlier this week. I really, really like him a lot this week because he very consistently gets very, very good finishes, very high upside here at Talladega. So I think that he's a great play, and yeah, I'm all in with you on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go Erik Jones anyways, and I was just kind of hoping that it was going to be, in the 7,000. I looked at $6,400. I was like, hell yeah. Can I get 2? Can I get 2 Erik Joneses for that one?
You just copy and paste. They should let you. Oh, that'd be interesting. Multiple. Yeah, like you just want to enter the same guy twice and double his points and have one less driver. Oh, DraftKings, we know you're out there listening. We got some ideas for you.
Yep, it's cooking in the incubator. I love it. All right. Well, then let's save some people the ultimate of low money that we can and go with our low value price drivers. Cody, who's your value driver for this?
Well, speaking of one Erik Jones, let's stay in the legacy camp. Go over to his teammate, John Hunter Nemechek. 31st and 33rd is where he finished at Talladega last year. Some people are going to look at that, say, no, thank you. Next, but not me. Actually, he did lead 20 laps here in the spring. I believe that might have been before all the Toyotas wrecked each other. I can't remember if that was this race or not. But anyways, neither here nor there. His other 2 career starts at Talladega, 8th and 8th place finishes. Now, those were back in 2020 when he was with Front Row in his first foray in the Cup Series. But he's finished well here before. And he just finished 5th in the Daytona 500, like we talked about, right there with Jimmy. They had good runs, right? His 4 other career starts at Daytona, 15th, 7th, 11th, 11th. So, when I just talked about how Erik Jones not good at Daytona or Atlanta really in an overall sense, but really good at Talladega, for a lot of guys, they're just kind of good at all of them. And John Hunter is one of those. Some bad results last year, yes, but he's been good at Talladega previously. He's been really good at Daytona here. And he finished 10th at Atlanta. So far in the 2 super speedway races we've had, a top 5, a top 10 finish. I don't even know if I said what price he was at. It doesn't really matter because you're just going to get him in there anyways, but he's only $5,600. So a very cheap play for you, and he's got some big upside. Maybe you play some Nemechek, you play some Jones in there together, have that little legacy motor club stack. You raise your pinky maybe you hit the submit button with your pinky. Maybe that's extra luck with the legacy guys. I don't know, but I love Erik Jones this week, and I like his teammate John Hunter Nemechek as well.
Hey, listen, Jimmy Johnson owned team. You don't have to sell me on it at all. I'm 1,000% with you on that one. So yeah, that'd be fun. A little legacy motor club, maybe an all Toyota. Because again, when you start constructing these, you can go in with a strategy like that because you know that these manufacturers are going to be running together and teams are going to be running together.
Big time. You're going to see a lot of manufacturer games. You're going to see a lot of teams trying to stick together. They're going to get on different strategies where they're all together. So that's something I do a lot is you build a Toyota lineup, you build a Ford lineup, you build a Chevy lineup, and you know, you can't always get like all 400 guys and 2 other Chevys in there because they're kind of expensive, but you can get good combinations of different people. Sometimes you build friend lineups, like, you know, that Blaney and Bubba and Elliott are kind of all tight. Like, you put those guys together, maybe they have a chance to work together late. There's a lot of fun ways to build DFS lineups for Talladega.
Tons of fun. Sack races at kids' birthday parties, and you could just attach numbers to them, and whoever wins or comes, that's how you.
I'm not against any idea like that.
I got that from the league, by the way. So if you guys, you know, that's how they determined their draft order. That was a lot of fun. All right, are you ready for me to say a name that I don't say very often at all, if not at all? That is Cody Ware. Yes, Cody, not Rhodes, not Cody Zeeb, but Cody Ware. $5,100 for Cody Ware. But Rod, you say it's Cody Ware. I know, but he has got 9 starts in the Cup Series on this particular track between the 51, the 15, and the 27. By the way, he did drive the 27 for his own team way back in the day. But 35th place average start for Cody Ware, 26th place average finish for Cody Ware. Although I will say to you, if you look back at the Talladega race from the fall, he had the 7th most fantasy points for the race, 55.05 for Cody Ware. You're paying $5,100. You mean to tell me you're getting 10 times what you paid for him? Okay, that's fine. That's probably the outlier. No, 18th place in terms of fantasy points, 30 points. That's still 6 times what you paid for him in the spring of 2024. In the fall of 2024, there's nothing to report there, but in the fall of 2022, Cody Ware still got you 14 points. However, if you go back to the spring of that year of 2022, Cody Ware got you a whopping, I just had it and I had to scroll up, 20.45 points for that one. So look, even at its worst, he's still getting you close to 5 times what you're paying for him. And anybody down there in that area, in the $5,100 area, you're not guaranteed that many points from them. You're not guaranteed to even get maybe even points from them. You may get negative points from them. So for me, this is a guy that's consistently been able to be in and around an area where he can get you some fantasy points. And that's what you're looking for, especially if you're stacking it up with some pretty high end folks to try to get you the dominator points, right? This guy's just going to at least get you a nice solid floor in which he can actually build on a little bit and maybe get you that 55-point day where he does explode for a 10 times what you invested in him. So Cody Ware at $5,100. Again, I feel like Jones and Ware should be the building blocks for a lot of your guys' lineups, because that could be a winning lineup right there. Yeah,
I love it, because when you're building these lineups, you're going to have plenty of salary left. Like, after we talked about our first 5 picks, we could have still fit Denny Hamlin in there. And instead, you're taking Cody Ware. And so a lot of people are just going to be like, well, I don't need to do that. But he really is a good driver in the sense that he gets to the end of these races. Like, he's not under any illusion that he's the best or fastest car out there. Or he just runs his race, keeps it clean. He's there at the end. He waits for the 28 car wreck to do its job. And then he takes care of business.
He's only DNF'd in 1 race at all in his 9 starts. So for a guy like Cody Ware, right, you would think that he would be more in the wrecks and in the piles, but no, he doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. I like it. And you said Cody Ware so many times, I have to share one of the fantasy leagues that I am in. The Atop the Box, they have a podcast out there as well, but they do a fantasy league where you like submit your stuff at the beginning of the year basically and ride with it. But they have they like you to get like creative fantasy names or whatever. And so my fantasy name is Cody Ware with a question mark, but it's, Ware, like WHERE with a question mark. So that's, I thought that was somewhat creative at least.
That is clever. Cody Ware? Cody Ware?
Exact. Cody Ware.
Beautiful. All right, well, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over our DFS picks for this race. Cody gave you William Byron as his high price driver at $10,000. I gave you Brad Keselowski at $9,600 as mine. Cody gave you Austin Cindric at $8,600 for his driver, his mid-tier driver. I gave you Eric Jones at $6,400 for my mid-tier driver. Cody gave you John Hunter Nemechek at $5,600 for his low-value price driver, and I gave you Cody Ware $5,100 for this one. All right, when we come back, we are going to give you our Underdog Fantasy plays for this race. So we'll do that. But first, allow me to tell you about our friends officially over at Underdog. It's time. We're going to give you all of our favorite Underdog plays after the break. But I want you, in the meantime, to know that Underdog Pick'em is where you can play any sport and win up to 100x. Guarantee you right now, I had a lot of fun looking up that Aussie rules pick the other day. Guess what? It hit. So definitely make sure you stick with us, because I give you fun little tidbits like that all the time. And yeah, the guy did not score a goal in the entire game, therefore hitting the worse than on that one, or the lower than on that one. In the meantime, though, you can sign up with our promo code RACESGPN. You're going to claim a special pick and a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code RACESGPN. Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. Rhythm is now live for Major League Baseball. Plus, they got models for NBA and golf. Picks so good, feels like cheating. Building your own model is simple and easy. Look, if you want to know whether or not Rhythm is favoring Taylor Ward rather to get over a half of a hit, they are. So you could build a model just like that and be on the cutting edge of the technology and cutting edge of the stats over there on Rhythm. So build your own model. In the meantime, Rhythm has some amazing deals going on now. It's 25% off a monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% off an annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. That's RITHMM, promo code SGPN25 or SGPN50. There it is. Yeah, that was fun. So I woke up this morning because I wanted to see if that one made it or not, and I was very pleased to see that he did not score a goal. Not for him in particular, but just for the fact that I did give out the lower than on that one. All right, Cody. Well, then it is time to start giving out our Underdog Fantasy plays. Underdog Fantasy, the premise is simple. The Underdog gives you finishing projections for each driver, and you choose whether or not they're going to finish better than or worse than that projection. You pick as many as you want, up to about 8 of them, and then watch that multiplier stack up. And in the end, you cash. It's that simple, folks. And we give you our favorite plays from this each and every week. So, Cody, this is a super speedway. I expect to see one word dominating yours.
Yes, and worse than would be that word. Much like you're going to make a lot of DFS lineups this week, I would suggest making a lot of worse than lineups this week for Underdog. Obviously, you can't just select everyone because some people have to finish better than. That is how it works. But it's a lot easier to hit the worse thans than the better thans this week. And I mean, who else would we start with on the worst then, other than Kyle Larson himself? Of course, fade Kyle Larson in full effect. If you think that I hate Kyle Larson, I implore you to go join the Discord at sg.pn/Discord, where I vehemently was arguing that he is the greatest race car driver in the world today over in the Discord channel there. But he sucks at super speedways, and really that's all that matters. The last 10 career starts here, this generation of car, last generation of car, Hendrick, Chip Ganassi, doesn't matter. The last 10 starts, 2 times has he finished better than 12.5, where they have his projected finish at. That's it, 2 times in 10 starts. Really, I don't think you need to go much farther than that as far as the stats go. He's 3 for 49 in his career on super speedways as a whole, finishing in the top 5. He's just not been good. Finished 4th place here in the fall. Sometimes that is going to happen. It's only the 3rd time, or well, I guess that was the 2nd time. It's now happened 3 times. So crazy. But he doesn't finish well on the super speedways. He runs good throughout the day. Again, you're going to be like, oh, he looks pretty good to me, right? He's leading laps. He's shuffling up with the leaders. And then it's going to happen. It's going to be late in the race. There's going to be a wreck. You're going to look up and you're going to go, oh, there goes the 5 car wobbling sideways because he got caught up in it again. It just happens each and every time. I mean, fading Kyle Larson on super speedways has been so profitable over the years. Every once in a while, he's going to get a 4th place finish like he did here in the fall. Fine, I'll take it. That's only the second one in his career here at Talladega. And over the last 10 races, only the second time he's finished better than 12.5. Love the worse than on Kyle Larson for this one.
Yeah, and so many people are going to be like, "Oh yeah, it's Kyle Larson. You got to do it." And he's gonna. We know these. We know you truthers. We know you Kyle Larson truthers. And
They
that's
get real quiet when he wrecks, Rod. It's crazy, which is
Mhm.
most of the time on super speedways. So they'll chirp the 3 times he finishes in the top 5, but compared to the 49 times he doesn't, I'm not too worried about it. Or 46 times. Apologies. It'll be 49 after the next 3.
I mean, listen, you got to do what you got to do. And of course, like we said, the number one rule of super speedways is to fade Kyle Larson. And therefore you will be fading Kyle Larson, taking the worst then on this one. Okay. I'm going to get to my worst then. I promise you I am, but I want to start with a little bit of optimism because I'm an optimistic guy. I'm a happy guy. So I got to at least start with some bright sunshiny days. Right. And that's Ricky Stenhouse. I'm going to take his better than he said it 14.5. I know. I get it. It's not something you want to stomach. However, I will tell you right now that if you look at Ricky Stenhouse's numbers at Talladega, the last 2, 4-1. So, I mean, listen, before that, 22-15, 22-30, 16. I get it. I understand. But there is that bright string of sunshine in which there's 4-1. He won this race last year. He finished 4th the year before. You look at Talladega, you look at Daytona, actually, for Ricky Stenhouse. It's been a really bad string, but he did win one. And he's a decent enough super speedway racer to keep himself out of a whole lot of messes, except for at Daytona, where he crashes all over the place. But he's only got 4 DNFs at Talladega. You know, I know we call him Ricky Spinhouse for a reason, but at Talladega, not so much. He's probably finished more races than some of the other drivers on this particular track. But for me, I think that when you look at even the last couple of races before that, 14 laps he led in the fall of 2023. You know, he was up front. He was running around and doing good things on this particular track. So this is where I feel comfortable taking him. You know, maybe even a DFS standpoint, but I didn't really put him in there because I wanted to put him in underdog. But I feel like he should be a top 14 car at the end of the day, given the fact that I feel like he maybe figured something out last year, right? Where he was able to keep himself out of trouble, keep himself upright, keep himself straight. 14.5 is such a low enough number to me that, or low enough projection to me that I feel like I'm okay. Cause it's little more than halfway through the field. And as long as he keeps himself up front and keeps himself clean, then I think he can hit this mark. So give me Ricky Stenhouse better than 14.5.
Yeah, initially I looked at this one and I almost clicked the worse than on Stenhouse for this one. But then, because when I think of Stenhouse, I think of like checkers or wreckers on super speedways. Like he wins or he finishes last, but that's not really the case. And if you look through his Talladega finishes kind of all through history, he's got a lot of good runs here and even a lot of 15th, 20th place runs where he's in the mix still kind of at the end. So I don't love taking better thans this week very much. You can sprinkle some in for sure. This is actually not a bad one. Again, you know, you pair, I wouldn't do more than 1 or 2 better thans probably, just because a lot of the guys that have the better or worse than options, you know, things are going to happen and they're not going to finish well. But and you got some pretty low numbers in here, which actually makes for the better of hitting the worse. Yeah. Anyways, but I don't mind taking this one better than in a few of your lineups for sure.
Indeed. All right, Cody, where are we going next?
Well, somebody that I also am going to fade a little bit this week is Joey Logano. They've got him set at 8.5 for Joey Logano. And, you know, so first of all, anybody that's set at 8.5 is worth looking at taking worse than, because on a week-to-week basis, you go to a track like Bristol that we were just at, or Martinsville, or Homestead, how many drivers can finish in the top 8? 15, 20 maybe, right? At Talladega, there's 39 drivers entered in this race. All 39 of those drivers can legitimately finish inside of the top 8 at the end of the day here. So it's just based on numbers, right? There's more people who can finish there, means it's a better chance he doesn't finish well. Well, then you also take into account that in the next gen era at Talladega, which is 6 races, I just told you there's 39 drivers entered into this race. Joey Logano has the 46th best average finish at Talladega in the next gen era. 27.5. Ty Gibbs is above him. Thank you very much, Rod. BJ McLeod, JJ Yaley, David Reagan, like Cody Ware is well above him on this list. Shane Van Gisbergen's, there's a lot of guys well above him on this list, and it's just not been good finishes. We think of Joey Logano as a super speedway ace, right? A great guy at super speedways, and he's a lot better at Daytona and Atlanta than he's been at Talladega. It has not been good. His finishing position is set at 8.5, Rod. 33rd in the fall, 19th in the spring, 24th and 30th in 23, 27th and 32nd in 22. You have to go 7 races to go to October of 21 prior to the next gen era, where he finished in 3rd place. That's the bet, but then you go farther back in the spring of that year, was 39th. 2020, he was 26th and 17th. 2019, 11th. Then you finally find the 4th. Now, there was a stretch in here, right? From October of 2015 to April of 2019, like 1st, 25th, 1st, 32nd, but 4th, 1st, 5th, 4th, like really good stretch of Joey Logano at Talladega. That's not been the case lately. He hasn't been anywhere close to this. He's been within 11 spots of this, or 10 spots, I guess, in the last 6 races here. And if you back it out over the last 11 races, only one time has he finished better than. So it just doesn't make sense for where this is put at. You look at this and you think, well, Joey Logano, he's a good super speedway guy. Penske, Ford, we just got done talking about it, right? But the results don't really match that. And he might run well throughout the race, as he tends to do, but he just kind of always seems to be wrong place, wrong time. And he's not gotten the results here in the next gen era for sure. And even prior to that for quite some time. So give me the worst then on Joey Logano. And again, not just to pick on Joey, because he could go out and win this race. We know that, right? But 8.5 is such a low number when every driver in this race could finish inside of that top 8.
Yeah, it just, when I looked at this initially too, I was like, oh, Joey Logano 8.5. I was like, that is not. I mean, I was looking at it immediately and was like, yeah, there's no way.
I mean, I'd play him worse than this most places, but and so I guess the thought should be, well, he should be better here because super speedway guy, but not a Talladega guy apparently.
Yeah, no, not even a little. Yeah, and you're right. There's guys that are better at one super speedway track than the others, and he's just
again was very good here. Had multiple wins within a couple year span at one point in a different era, in a different car, in a different package. Like we know, like Dale Earnhardt wouldn't win as many times at Talladega today as he did when he raced. Right? It's Richard Petty wouldn't win 200 races if he raced today because things are different and things change. And obviously, what we're doing now doesn't agree with Joey. How it did at that point in time.
Indeed. All right. I am going to go with Chase Briscoe initially behind the scenes. The underdog.
I was trying to not say anything. I just put it in the box.
No. But I have to get in there because guess what? When I initially started to make the doc, right? When I first started filling out this morning, they gave us Daniel Suarez. Then they gave us the better or worse than 10.5. I reloaded it because Cody said, I don't know that there's a worse than option on this one. I reloaded it. Sure enough.
He got hammered is what you're saying. Because I've seen them. They've done that before. And that's something, if you like some of these, get them in earlier because they will change. Mm-hmm. That's something I've seen multiple times before where you like the worse than on somebody or the better than, and you go to play it and all of a sudden it's moved 2 or 3 spots, or they just took one option completely off and only leave you the other one, which was the case here.
It was exactly the case here because then you could not take worse than on Daniel Suarez 10.5. So I had to shift gears real quick, and that's okay because I found another one that I like, and that's Chase Briscoe. He is set at 12.5. I'm going to take the worst then on this one. This will be my first worst then of the day. But here's the thing. Like you said, 12.5 is such a high bar to hit on a super speedway, especially when he hasn't done that in 2 out of the last 3 races on this track. He had a 30th place finish last fall. Started 36th in that particular race, so that was crazy. The race before that in the spring, he did finish in 12th, so he would have actually cleared the mark. But the year before that, he started 3rd, finished 13th. His average finish on this track, 16.4. He does have 2 top 10 finishes, which, out of 8 starts, that's still only 25% of the time that he's finishing inside of the top 10. And really, again, only 3 times has he finished inside of the 12.5 or the 13.5 or 12.5 that he's at here. So, I mean, listen, Chase Briscoe, it's been a season for him so far, right? He's averaging 15th place finish this year in that brand new spanking 19 car that he took over for Martin Truex Jr. He started out the year with a fantastic 4th place finish at Daytona, which left you feeling like he was going to have a fantastic season. Then he finishes 21st in Atlanta, 14th at Coda, 35th at Phoenix, 17th at Las Vegas. He got your hopes up, though. 3 out of the last 4 weeks, he's been inside of the top 10, but 28th at Darlington kind of broke that for you as well. But this is a super speedway. This is anything can go wrong, will go wrong type of a situation. And for Chase Briscoe, I know he's had a great 4 week stretch, right? 3 out of 4 week stretch, but I'm telling you right now, that kind of stuff can crumble really quickly when it comes to the big, wide, expansive spaces that is Talladega. So I'm going to take Chase Briscoe worse than 12.5. And this is preparing for a little bit of chaos up front where I think he's going to be.
How many more bad races do we need from him to see the crew chief change to Rodney Childers? Because that is what I am rooting for. I would, get James Small off that 19 car. Give Chase Briscoe Rodney Childers. I would be all chips in on Chase Briscoe. But for now, worse than.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. But, all right, Cody.
Next up for me. So made a case for Austin Cindric a little bit ago on the DFS show. I think that there is a lot of upside there, and I think that as a high-risk, high-reward shot in DFS, he is a good play. But I'm going to make the opposite case here in Underdog, and I'm going to take his worse than 12.5 because of some of the things I touched on a little bit ago when I was making the positive case for him, right? Last year, 32nd and 23rd. And we did have a 5th place sprinkled in there, but then a 26th place. So 3 of the last 4 have been worse than. He had a 9th place here in 2022, but then the first race there, 21st place finish. So 6 career starts here. Only twice has he actually finished better than. So I do think that he is a high risk, high reward, good DFS play because if he does hit in DFS, he could have a great day because he could lead you a bunch of laps. He could have a bunch of fastest laps. And then if the result is there, you can score a lot of points. I also mentioned he's had some bad finishes and that he could have that very, very low floor of losing a bunch of spots for you. That's the case that you're building here. More times than not, he's finished worse than. So while I do think that he's a great driver, I think there is some upside in the DFS, that portion of it, this DFS portion of it, where you're just simply picking better or worse than. I think I'm going to lean a little bit to the worse than side, at least building this lineup here, because I think more results than not, obviously, as we've seen so far, have him finishing worse than 12.5. So I think it's sort of kind of a good thing to bring up too, where even though you can make a positive case for a lot of these guys, there is a negative case to make for anybody on a super speedway because it can happen, right? But certain guys more than others. And we talked about William Byron being a safer play. Like I looked at he's tough because he has finished so good so many times. It makes it harder to, do you walk that line? Like it is a low projection, but he usually finishes well. But with Cindric, it's like the high risk, high reward is there. But then on this side of things, it doesn't matter if he leads a bunch of laps. It doesn't matter. He has to finish good in order to finish better than, but more times than not, he doesn't. So I think that you can play him both ways, and it is a way to get in on the action on both sides, right? If he has a good DFS day, great. Those DFS lineups look good, except probably the other 5 cars wrecked. And then on the other side of things, right, you can cash this if he doesn't have a good day. So I like being able to bring up both sides of that, and I think that Cindric is kind of a great example of there are 2 very clear sides, and it could go either way.
And all it takes, we talked about this, I think, even yesterday, all it takes is for one car to get squirrely up the front and take out 28 cars. And, now you're talking about guys that never finish in the front and finishing in the front. So, or guys that always finish in the front are now finishing in the back. So, yeah, I mean, this is a great way to sort of hedge a little bit on it. You take the DFS side of it, have fun. And if he does well, then he does well. And then if he doesn't do well, then this one's probably going to hit for you. And you're going to be happy there too. So, all right. If this was a qualifying number or a projection, I would take this for sure at the better than, but it is not. It is a race number. Michael McDowell, worse than 12.5. Michael McDowell started on the pole in back-to-back races at Talladega. Loves himself starting on the pole. Doesn't love finishing the race. Like he led 36 laps in the spring of 2024 42 in the fall of 2024, but did not finish either one of those races. 31st and 37th were his finishing positions in last year's Talladega races. Yeah, that's bad luck, right? He's probably a good racer otherwise. His average start on this track, 22.5 in his 28 starts. His average finish, 26.5. He does not finish better than he starts just about every single race that he's been at. All right, 2023, let's take a look. 35th in the spring, 21st in the fall. Neither one of those were better than 12.5. 2022 was a great year for him. 8th place in the spring, 3rd place in the fall. That's great. But in the fall of 2021, 17th. In the spring of 2021, great. 3rd place. But before that, 36th, 18th, 5th. Okay, great. 40th, 32nd, 30th, 34th, 16th, 21st. Like, again, only 4 top 10s in 28 starts for Michael McDowell. He qualifies freaking better than anybody in the world on this track, right? Well, at least last year he did. But he's just not finishing. And for me, this is an easy worse than, because 12.5 is way too generous of a projection for a guy who can't barely find himself into the top 15, let alone the top 12. So, yep, give me Michael McDowell worse than 12.5.
Yeah, I actually really like this one. I think that all great points by you. He does qualify well, and you think of Michael McDowell. Oh, he's a super speedway guy, right? But is he? I mean, yes, he's won the Daytona 500. I get it, but in a general sense, like a lot of times it's checkers or wreckers for him, like we kind of talked about with Stenhouse, where it's not so much the case. But it certainly has been with him. So yeah, I like your case for the worst.
Righty. Yay, I get Cody's seal of approval on a Thursday. Gotta love it. All right. Well then, get out your pen and paper. It's time to go over our Underdog Fantasy Picks for the Jack Links 500 from the Talladega Superspeedway. Cody gave you Kyle Larson worse than 12.5 there by obeying the first rule of Superspeedways. I gave you Ricky Stenhouse or better than 14.5. Almost said worse than. Better than 14.5 for Ricky Stenhouse. Cody gave you Joey Logano worse than 8.5. I said Chase Briscoe would finish worse than 12.5. Cody said Austin Cindric would finish worse than 12.5. And I said Michael McDowell would finish worse than 12.5. There it is, Cody.
Beautiful. You put these guys together, all 6 of them, 35 times your entry, $10, $350 is what it pays out. So I just submitted it. So hopefully we'll win some money.
I love that. See, this is why I love this show so much.
That's what makes underdogs great too. Like we love the traditional DFS with DraftKings, and that's a ton of fun, and there's a lot of variance. But this one, you're not playing against everybody else, and you're picking your guy, and you can pick guys to do bad. Like you get the free square in Kyle Larson. Like in DFS, you know DraftKings, you can't go pick Kyle Larson to do bad. You just don't pick him, right? But here you can pick him to have a bad day and help yourself out. So it's a lot of fun, and yeah, the entry. I mean the multiplier adds up quickly, especially the more picks.
Yeah.
That you
and what
have.
I love about it too is that you don't have to worry about if everybody else is picking Kyle Larson worse than, because it's just you. And
right.
if it hits, it hits for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it so much fun. It's just you're playing against yourself.
Indeed. All right. Well then, Cody, we'll send everybody out into the world to fill out their DFS lineups and their underdog entries. And say goodbye to everybody for the week as we help you enjoy the Talladega weekend, baby. This is be a lot of fun. And of course, turning you loose just in time to catch some draft coverage.
Yes, it is. It is Talladega week, so very excited. Good luck to everybody this week. Don't forget to fade Kyle Larson, and join us this evening over on the draft over on the main Sports Gambling Podcast show. Going to be a lot of fun over on their YouTube channel there. So, yeah, man, draft. I love. It's one of our football Christmases that we get throughout the year, and it is a beautiful thing. So, all right, Rod. Well, subscribe to the YouTube if you have not. At NASCAR Gambling there. Follow the show as well on the X at NASCAR Gambling. Follow me at Husker_Zeeb. Good luck this weekend. We'll see you guys next week.
Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the about everything I got going on, whether it's here. Check out In Between Media's YouTube channel where Seth and Elliot are talking Dega for you. very, very shortly. In fact, they're going to start very soon talking Talladega. They want to get done before the draft as well. And then find some other stuff. There's I've had some good run on some darts, some Call of Duty League action going on. We've had some Australian rules football stuff happening over on my Twitter site, so make sure you check that out as well. All right, we'll see you guys next week for another thrilling adventure in NASCAR gambling podcast world. So until then, love you guys. Let's go racing and let it ride.